Hello everyone, I'm Alicia. For this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make my version of a rosary bracelet. Now originally I wanted to make a rosary necklace, and I searched online and I found that there's actually a lot of rosary tutorials out there. So I thought, well, what if I did a rosary bracelet? Has anyone ever done that? So I searched rosary bracelets, and I actually found that there is no set-in-stone way to make a rosary bracelet. Everybody has their own spin on it, but mostly what people are doing is just making a beaded chain, and near the clasp they'll have a crucifix charm. So I wanted it to look more like a rosary necklace. I wanted to use the connector part and also the crucifix in the bracelet, so I came up with a slave bracelet style to make that happen. Now these parts here, the small beaded chain on the side, actually isn't supposed to be there, but I really wanted to make this more decorative, so I just went and added that. I'm also thinking about adding another beaded chain here from these beads to this right here, and also from here to there on that side. Or maybe from this connector piece down here, so it would be a beaded chain going that way. But I don't know, it might pull strange on how that lays, so I might just go this way so it drapes like the other one. So really, like I said, there is no set way to make a rosary bracelet. A lot of people are just doing a beaded chain with a crucifix charm. Now this charm here is not actually a crucifix, it's just a cross, and I've searched all of my local craft stores trying to find a really small crucifix that was 1/2 inch to 1 inch, because most of the crucifixes out there are 2 inches long. They are so huge. So really, if I wanted a crucifix, I had to order online, but I didn't have enough time to order online and make this video, so I just used what I had. But if you want a small crucifix, you're probably gonna have to order online, because like I said, I've checked out all the craft stores and they're not carrying tiny little crucifixes. Or you could do what I did and just use a cross, because that's all I could find was just a regular cross. So let's get started. Here is the list of materials you will need to make a rosary bracelet. You will need 20 gauge wire, and you will also need a small crucifix, and I found that 1/2 inch to a 1 inch size is just right. This one's 1/2 inch, this is what it looks like with the 1 inch. Any bigger than a 1 inch is going to be really uncomfortable to wear, so you want to stay small with your crucifix. You're also going to need a 3-way connector, and I found this one here at Walmart, and this one. It was in a 6-pack. It had 3 Jesuses and 3 Marys, and it was $2.50. When I went to the craft stores, there was only like 1 in a pack for like $5, and it was just ridiculous. And it's not that these are cheap metal, that's why they were so cheap. It's just Walmart sells stuff cheaper. They're actually a really good quality metal. I have a lot of metal in this, whatever this is, and it just seems to last forever. I've had these crosses for probably 10 years and they just don't tarnish. They are antique colored and they've just stayed that way forever. They're really good quality. You're also going to need 14 2/16 beads, and they can be 8mm or 6mm, whatever size you want. So for like a 7-inch bracelet you'll need 14, for about 8-inch bracelet you'll need 16. And you can play around with different shapes. You don't have to use rounds. They can be bicones, ovals, just play around and see what you got. You're also going to need 4mm beads, and again they can be rounds, ovals, bicones. Now I'm not sure how many you will need of the 4mm beads, because I'm not sure if I'm going to do the extra beads here or not, but I will have the amount down there in the description bar. If you look down there, you'll see how many 4mm beads you will need. And again, this part is optional. You don't have to have that there. If you want it to be more like a rosary, you don't have to have these. It could just be this part here, okay? You're also going to need a lobster claw clasp, 3 jump rings, and 3mm rolo or cable chain. This is actually a cable chain. The cable chain is kind of flat and it's more sparkly. The rolo chain is like a rounded link, and it's not as sparkly as this one. But I kind of like the rolo one more than the flat one. So yeah, you're going to need that. And you're also going to need tools. You're going to need chain nose pliers, round nose pliers, and wire cutters. And if I left anything out, I'll put it down there in the description bar. Okay, so this is everything we're going to need to make a rosary. The first thing we need to do is to make our beaded chain link sections. Now, what I like to do first is the part that goes around the wrist. Now, this is an 8-inch bracelet, so I have 2 sections that have 7 beads on each side. If you want a 7 to a 7.5-inch bracelet, you will need to have 2 sections that have 6 beads on each side. Now, for this part here, I have 8 4mm beads. So you'll have to make 2 sections that have 8 4mm beads. You're also going to have to make 1 section that has 1 large 8mm bead, 3 4mm beads, and 1 8mm bead here. Now I'm going to zoom in to show you how the cross is connected. I have this link here that has the chain connected on each side, and then I have my jump ring attached to my cross there. Now don't make your links too small because you want to be able to connect these links together. So here you can see I have 3 links here connected to this bead, and down here I have another section here where I had to connect more links. So you do want to make your links big enough that you can connect them like this. So again, you're going to need to make 2 sections here that have 6 to 7 beads in them that go around your wrist. You're going to have to make 2 sections here that have 8 4mm beads. You're going to have to make 1 section that has 1 8mm, 3 4mm, and 1 8mm. Okay? So once we have those sections made, then we can assemble our bracelet. Okay, so I hate wasting wire, and one way to prevent that from happening is to work straight off the spool, slide a bead down, a couple beads down, make a loop at the end, then slide the bead up, then make a loop, and then trim that, and then there you have one link made. But that can be irritating because your spool is over here flopping around, and some spools are very crazy and they need spool tamers. So one way that I found to make this very easy and not waste a lot of wire is to cut a long section that's about 8 inches long, like that, and work with this piece of wire. And I really like doing it this way because it made it much faster to make these. So I have my wire cut, and I'm going to make my loop here in the end, and I'm going to straighten this out before I do that. I don't want to make my loops super tiny, so I don't want to do it at the very end. I'm going to make it down just a little bit right there on my pliers. Make my loop just like that. Okay. Then I'm going to grab it here and I'm going to bend it back so it looks better. Okay. Now I'm going to put a bead on. Slide that down. Now we don't want our loops to be going in the same direction, because if we do that, this chain is not going to stay, what's it called, tidy on us. Like when we pick it up, it's going to be like a big jumbly mess, but when you make it this way, that won't happen. So I have this loop going in this direction, and I'm going to make another loop, and I'm going to have it going in the opposite direction of this one. So I'm going to grab my round nose pliers here, and my loop is going in this direction. So I'm going to make a new loop, and I'll turn this around, going in this direction. So I'm just going to bend this like that with my fingernail. That's how I like to do it. And then I'm going to make a new loop here. Okay. Grab that and go around. So now we have this. Now I'm going to cut this with my flush cutters, and so my wire is cut flush, I have to make sure that I cut it with this direction, the flat side here. Okay. And now I have what looks like this. Now I do like to go back and straighten my loop out, because sometimes it could be out of shape and it looks good. Okay. So I'm going to take my flat nose and I'm going to come in here and close this loop. I'm going to come over here and fix this one because it's not actually closed properly. Okay, and to make sure that they are going in different directions, I like to take both pliers and go like this. Okay, just to straighten it out. And now this link is done. So now I have to make another one to go along with that. I'm going to set that in my tray. I'm going to pick my wire up and I'm going to make another loop. I'm going to grab it about here. Bend this down. Now I know a lot of you already know this technique, so this is for beginners. But basically what I want to show you is how to connect this rosary bracelet together. Okay, so I just made a loop there. Now I'm going to pick up a bead, slide that down, and I'm going to make another loop. Okay, so have it sitting like this. So I want to make another loop going in the opposite direction. So I just make a bend there, and I wrap this around. Just like that. And then I cut my wire wrong side. Okay, so now I have my link, and I'm going to go ahead and straighten this link out. With both of my pliers, just like this. Now I'm going to, since I already have one made, I'm just going to open one side and then connect the other link that I already made on there. Okay, so now I have two links done. Now I'm going to make another one. So I'm going to take my wire again. I'm going to make my loop at the end. Okay. Then I'm going to slide a bead on, just like that. I'm going to hold my wire like this. I'm going to grab it with my fingernail, slide the bead down, grab it with my fingernail. I'm going to make a bend going in this direction. I need my loop to be in the opposite direction. Then I'm going to grab it with my pliers and I'm going to make a loop. Okay. Bring that around, just like that. And now I'm going to trim this wire. Okay. And now I have to add this on, but before I do, like I said, I like to make sure that my ends are just right, that they're not all bent. Okay, looks good. Now I'm going to put my links on and close this shut. And there I go, I have 3 done. Okay, now I'm going to do another one. Grab the end of my wire, make a loop, then I'm going to grab it like this and bend it that way. Okay, I'm going to put a bead on, and I need my loop to go in the opposite direction, so I'm going to hold it like this with my nail, and I'm going to bend it that way. Then I'm going to grab it with my pliers and make my loop. Okay, just like that. And now I'm going to trim it with the flush side here. Alright, then I'm going to go back and tidy this one link up that I just did. And I think this loop here could be fixed just a little bit. Open that up. Okay, looks good. I need to make sure that this is bent the way I need it to be. I'm going to open this link up now and place in my others and close it shut. So this is very, very simple, very easy to do. Making where the links are going in the opposite direction keeps this from tangling up. When you say put it in your jewelry box and you go to put it back on, it's all tangled up. It stops that from happening. So go ahead and do more sections. Finish your section for the side. Like I said, you'll need 6 to 7 of these, and then do your sections here with the 4mm beads, and do your section here. And once you have all of that completed, I'll come back and show you how to assemble this. So I went ahead and I made all my links, and I have it all laid out and ready to put together. And I gotta tell you guys, I really love that technique of cutting that 9-inch piece of wire and making my links that way, because it works up so fast. And I am not a fan of making these links. It is not fun, but since I've started doing it that way, it's so much more enjoyable and so much faster to make these, and it's just really great. I love it. So I'm gonna start connecting this together. I have my jump rings over here on the ends. I'm gonna have a jump ring up here later on. And I like to put my clasp on this side because I like to wear it on my left hand, and when I go to close it, I just grab it and clip it on. If you want to wear this on your right hand, then you're going to want to put the clasp on this side so it's easier to put on. So think about that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start connecting these together. I'll move these off to the sides so they don't fall off my table. I'm going to open up some links here and just start connecting my pieces. Okay, have that on. I'm going to do this side. Okay, I'm going to put on my clasp and my jump ring on this side, and I left my other pliers over there. Okay, I got that on. And now I'm going to put my jump ring on this side. I was going to use split rings for this because I do love those more, but I figured, heck, what's the use, because of all these loops. They're open, they're not wrapped loops, but they're not supposed to be wrapped loops. So I'm just using jump rings. Alright, so I have that on. I'm not going to connect that on because that would be confusing if I did that. Next, I'm going to put this part on. So I'm going to open this. Okay, put that on there. Close it shut. Alright. So now, I'm not going to do this part yet. Now what I need to do is the ring part. So you can go ahead and try this on and make sure it fits your wrist right. If it doesn't, you could take a link or two out. I was actually thinking, instead of having the clasp here, I was thinking about putting it up here, but I don't know. That would be totally experimental to see if that would be any easier putting it on. So anyways, I'm going to do the ring now. And to do this, just like in the past when I did the flower lace slave bracelet, I like to measure the chain like this. I don't want this to be too big because that section right here is going to be a little bit longer because the Jesus connector is longer than the Mary one. So maybe about like that much chain. Okay, so I'm going to grab this link right here. And these aren't soldered shut, so I'm able to open it. Okay. And just set that off to the side. So now I have my little ring that goes around my hand. And you can adjust this if you want. Okay, it looks like it's going to be alright. Okay, so on this one, I attached the ring part to the top bead. So I'm going to open this top bead loop, and I also have to put my cross on too, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I have my cross here. Well, actually, when I did this, I realized that it was best to put the chain on first. That's right, so I'll do that. So I'm going to put my chain on first. I'm going to open it big enough. Okay, I'm going to make this straight so it's not twisted. Put the other end on and shut this close. Okay, and now I'm going to put my cross on between these two links. So I'll zoom in. Here's my cross. To make sure this is laying in the right direction, you want to pick up the bracelet, because you need this and you need your cross to be face up. So I pick it up like this, lay it down, check the links, because one's going straight, one's going sideways, straight, sideways, straight, sideways. Okay, so to hold it like this, and my cross will be attached right here. Oops. I'll just do this. And I'll close this. Okay, now I'm going to pick this up and make sure, yep, my cross is hanging properly. Okay, so now I have to attach these chains on the side. And I think I'm going to do these first before I do the one in here, because like I said, I'm not sure how that's going to work. If it's going to work or not. So with these chains here, I'll zoom back out again. I have those connected to the second bead right here, the 4mm, right there. Okay. So right after this, I have them right here. So this one here is already open, so I'm going to attach that. Okay, right here to the first bead. Close that. Okay, now I'm going to attach my other one. Right here on this side. Close it. Okay, now I have to pick this up again, lay it flat, and this is the tricky part. We want to attach this so it's laying flat, so I have to make sure that this is straight. Check the links, make sure they are laying properly. So there's one straight, that one's sideways, straight, sideways, twisting it this way. Okay, so it has to go like this. Okay, I'm going to lay this down because I got it right and I don't want it to get messed up. Okay, I have that chain straight. Now I have to get this one straight. And on my other bracelet, I'll zoom back out, I have the chain of 4mm connected right here to the third bead on this link. Okay? So it's going to be on this bead right there on that link. So that's the top. And I'm going to make sure that I have this chain straight because of how the links lay, so it doesn't get tangled. Okay. There we go. And I'm going to attach it right here. Close it shut. Okay. And there we go. It's not tangled. Okay. Now I have to do this side. Now I have this laying flat still. That didn't flip on me. So I'm just going to make sure that this chain is straight. Okay. Just like that. I'm going to open this side. And attach it to my third bead, but I need it to be on this link here. So again, I have to straighten this out. Okay, I got this straight. Third bead right here. And close it shut. Okay. Okay, so I now have it all connected, and now I'm going to get some more links right here just to see what it looks like. Okay, and I'm going to go and try that out, and I'll come back and show you if it turned out or not. So I'm back from experimenting, and I found that I can put the chain here in this area, and it turned out great. But I discovered that the amount of beads you will need to fill this area will vary depending on how big your connector piece is. So on this one here, I have just a little bit of buckling right here between my connector and this bead. It's a little tight, but it's not bad when wearing. I notice it more when it's like sitting, like, for example, on the table, but when I put it on, I don't really see the buckling. There's no issue with that. So I'm going to let that slide. So I'm going to zoom in some and show you a closer up look. I did try putting 5 on the sides, and it was too draping. It looked weird. It wasn't draping properly. It was kind of like a sharp corner right here, and it was bumping into this, and I didn't like it. So I found that 4 is the best, but again, how much you will need on each side will depend on how big your centerpiece is. So on this one over here, the Mary one was actually just a little bit smaller than this one, and this one actually worked out better. There's no buckling at all between this bead and this piece here, and it just fit together perfectly. So I'm going to zoom in and show you how I connected the piece together. Okay, so this big bead right here, I have this loop, and I just took and I made 4 more links, and I connected it there on that loop, and I did the same thing over here. I made 4 more beaded links, and I connected to this loop, and then I went up here. And as you could see, I have a big bead here, and then I have another one here. On the second bead, I straightened my wire, my chain, made sure it was straight, and I attached my chain to this loop here on the second bead. And I did the same thing over here. I straightened the chain out, and I attached it to the second loop on this bead. Okay, so that's how I attached it together. I'm just going to show you what this one looks like. It's just buckling just a little bit, but actually I fixed it some. What I did is I realized that this loop I had right here was a little too big, so I opened that loop back up, and I trimmed it, and I made it just a little bit smaller, and it made a difference. So that's a tip if you have an issue. So I did try this bracelet on, and for some reason this bracelet is bigger on me than this one. So I just took 1 bead out, and it's the perfect size. But if I took another one out, it would be too small. But what I did is I took the bead out on this side, because if I took it out on this side, it would be harder to put the bracelet on. So that's another thing that you guys should pay attention to, is if you have the same amount on both sides and it's too big for you, take the bead out on the side that your clasp isn't on, so it's easier to put on. So this side is longer and this side's shorter, and I can attach it like right here on the side of my wrist. So that went really great. So this is what they look like. I'm so happy with them. They're so beautiful. This is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like this video, leave me a comment, subscribe if you want to see more of my videos, and like me on Facebook. And don't forget to share pictures of the jewelry you've made from my videos on my Facebook page, and follow me on Pinterest. Thanks for watching.